Pairings. I'm Laura Hayden, where I pair wine with shoes rather than wine with food. And this week we're going to talk about Grenache. And some of you are like, never heard of it. But you should, because it's the third most popular planted varietal in the world. It's very popular in Spain, where it's called Grenache, in Australia, United States, France, and even China. Who knew China grew grapes for wine? But they do. It is hugely popular because it's a really, really great grape for blending. That's why it's used so much. It has a lot of bang for its buck. It has a huge alcohol content, usually over 15%. It's grown in very hot climates. There's a huge yield and it doesn't need a lot of water. It doesn't have a lot of structure, which is why it's blended a lot. It's got a lot of fruit in it and some peppery notes. It's called, in the tasting notes, a fruit roll-up with cinnamon. Who doesn't want some of that? But it lacks acid and tannin and other things that add to a great wine, so that's why it's often blended. It can be very inexpensive, and it can be extremely expensive, particularly the French varietals, Châteauneuf de Pape, from the Rhone region. This grape is coming back on its own, and it's a great summer wine. It goes pretty much with everything that you would have at a barbecue. It's easy, it's friendly. You serve it chilled or can serve it chilled. I know, red wine that's served chilled, who knew? It can be served chilled, why it's great for summer. There's also white wines you should serve at room temperature. I know, we'll talk about that later. This grape is made into a rosé, it's made into a Grenache Blanc, a white wine, a red wine, even fortified wine, which is wine where they add more alcohol to it, so that's fun. And so, learn about the Grenache, get some for your summertime charcuterie platter, and no one will get hurt. The shoes I chose to go with it are from Steve Madden. We've talked about Steve Madden before, so I had to go a little deeper on the Steve Madden. I purchased these shoes at DSW in Washington, D.C., highly discounted, and I was like, why? These shoes are beautiful. Look how fun they are. That's a party in a shoe right there. Anyhow, Steve Madden, as we talked about before, went to prison for a little while. He was featured in Wolf of Wall Street for his bad deeds with the stock market trades. But some things you didn't know about Steve Madden is he used to put on secret concerts at his company. Yeah, when we had concerts. And it was usually up-and-coming people. He has a lot of really, really famous fans. Taylor Swift, Sarah Michelle Gellar, which is the Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which I'm a huge fan of. Also Mary Jane Blige and Neve Campbell. He actually owns Betsy Johnson, which also makes beautiful shoes, which makes sense because they're very rock and roll, both of them. He knows a good thing when he saw it, but I didn't know that, so I went a little deeper on the Steve Madden for you. And he started the company with only $1,000 out of the trunk of his car and one shoe design called the Maryland. It was a chunky Western-style clog. And look it, now he's a billionaire. So grab some Grenache, go to a party, talk to some people you don't know, come up with your billionaire idea, and have a happy